City and State TV, I'm Gerson Borrero. This afternoon, we're joined by Angela Fernández, who I think must have something that she needs examined. And I'll tell you why. Nothing personal here, Angela. You know, you have accepted such a challenging role, a designation. Not only you are part of the new structure of the Dominican Day Parade, a major cultural institution in this city, but you're also under the circumstances in which out of 12 of you, they decided they wanted you as their chairperson to lead them in this new venture, this new path to highlight the culture, the contributions, the beauty of the Dominican Republic in New York City. Why did you accept this after coming? I mean, this is like, first of all, Angela Fernández has a daytime job. She doesn't get paid a penny for this. She's not making money off of it illegally, like allegedly this person who was ousted by Eric Schneiderman, the Attorney General, did. So tell me why.
Well, first of all, it was an absolute honor to be elected as chair of the Dominican Day Parade, this newly constituted board that is made up of an extraordinary group of people. And when the election happened, I felt that there was no way that I could say no to this. I have spent the larger part of my career working within the Dominican community, and I thought, what better way than to work together with this board and to work together with the larger community and other important stakeholders to elevate and celebrate the incredible achievements that Dominicans have made, not only in New York City, but across the nation.
Absolutely, but I go back to the fact that you have a day job, you have responsibility. You're also a mother, which is the most important role that I, as a father, can tell you. That's, no matter what we do, being a parent is so, just tops everything else, and I know you feel that way. But you also come into a very complex community, as is the Puerto Rican community, but somehow, I don't know if Eric Schneiderman, as the Attorney General, after investigating this and finding that Nelson Peña finally, there was enough found, if not criminal wrongdoing, enough to oust him from the different organizations set up, because he was kind of a loony toony, that he's also able to put together a real representative board that should be the example of boards throughout. I tell you this, as a Puerto Rican, I wasn't the only one. Angelo Falcon, who's always commenting, said that we should have the Dominican Day Parade board instituted as the board for the Puerto Rican Day Parade, because quite frankly, we didn't do such a great job. The Puerto Rican Day Parade, you don't have to say it, I say it as a Puerto Rican. We know the process. We do commend Attorney General Eric Schneiderman in doing this good job with the Dominican Day Parade. He didn't do such a good job with the Puerto Rican Day Parade. We still have an accountability factor of Carlos Velázquez giving back $100,000 out of the million and a little over $1 million that he misappropriated. So those are son lechuga para otra ensalada. Your role, again, I bring you back. What is it, the charge that you have in terms of, as you met? I think that you've met already 3 or 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. What is the charge? What are you all looking forward to? I know that August 9th, if I'm not mistaken, of this year, you're going to sacar la bandera quisqueyana. You're going to be proud. You're going to be proud Dominicans. You're going to... What is the charge that you have right now? Because this, it requires economics. I think that you already have the permit from the city.
We do.
So what do you have right now done, and what is it that the task ahead for this first year?
So the wonderful thing about this particular board is that we are all, there's a word in Spanish, dispuesto. We came, we had our first meeting, and we hit the ground running. We knew exactly what we needed to do. We had to file that permit for August 9th, and the permit has been successfully filed. We are now in the fundraising process. We came together and the bank account was 0. So now we need to raise funds to be able to put this parade on. And we're going to share those details. We're going to be having a series of fundraisers. We also had to file our certificate of incorporation incorporation, all of the...
You had to refile it.
Absolutely. We had to refile it with the new name, Dominican Day Parade. So there are a lot of administrative pieces that we're putting together. We already had our first meeting with the city to talk about logistics for the parade, setting up the line of march.
That include the police department?
Absolutely.
Which is paramount to get these parades
That
done.
meeting was with the police department and with the city, with the mayor's office. And so we feel very good about working in partnership with them to make sure that this parade is a success. So there are thousands of details that we are now organizing and creating a timeline so that we can have a successful step off on August 9th.
Having said that, before I go into some of the details in the time that you've allotted, and we appreciate you coming to City and State TV, what is it that Dominicans have to, los dominicanos dominicana that are watching you, that have gone to this parade, that always celebrate, but some of them have stayed away because Nelson Peña, this is Gerson Borrero saying, was this crazy, disorganized lunatic in charge of the parade who created havoc among many people, had fights. He even picketed me when I was on radio. But having said that, nothing personal. But what is it you tell the average Dominican and out there that they should know about what you all are doing, the 12 of you, as a constituted board?
So what we want to do is ensure that this parade is the best Dominican parade in history. And what we are going to do is elevate the depth and complexity of Dominican culture. We have, as I mentioned before, made great achievements. We are part of the economic engine. We are an economic driver in the city and in the state and in the tri-state area. We are the largest immigrant population in the city. And all of that must be elevated. All of those positive contributions have to be elevated. The cultural part, Dominican Republic is incredibly complex. We have an African tradition, heritage, an indigenous heritage, a Spanish, French, Arabic, Chinese. We need to elevate all of that and show that this sancocho que tenemos de cultura es una cosa, una riqueza. It's a richness that we have. So we are going to be elevating that, celebrating that. We want Dominicans to walk away from that parade proud to be Dominican. And we want the larger community, the non-Dominicans, to say, whoa, what is this community, this incredible community that has contributed so much, that is so beautiful, that is so interesting? So that is our goal. That is our overall larger mission. And also, as someone else has told me, they just put you in charge of the best party in New York City.
That's right.
And if Dominicans know how to do one thing, it is how to put together a phenomenal, fun, joyous party.
It definitely, people from the Caribbean, especially, look, our brothers and sisters in the Dominican Republic definitely know how to party. They know how to do it well, and they know how to do it in a prolonged way so that it becomes una fiesta de fin de semana. It's like the Puerto Rican Day Parade. One of the things that I noticed, and you don't have to answer this because I understand that you're not a politician. There are elected officials. There is a political force developing, still in its development. It's moved ahead pretty quickly of elected officials. One of the things that we fault, many of us, the Puerto Rican Day Parade, is that Eric Schneiderman, whether he knowingly or not, he allowed too many of political hands to be involved in the selection of the constituted board. From what I've been able to investigate on my own, I know that there was a meeting convened on February 23rd at City Hall in which politicians were there. I'm not singling any of them out, but I know who was there and the three that weren't. And some of them try to get their political appointees. I don't see, most of us that have been around for a little while, don't see the political partisan hands here. And we really see, so they were kept at bay. Not that they're wrong, but they always have political interest and elections, the next election in mind. So how are you dealing with the elected officials? Have they, I know that they stepped back because Eric Schneiderman hasn't allowed them to, have influence like he did allow in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. How is that coming along?
So, first of all, you know a lot more, I think, in terms of the details and the background than any of us on the board do.
Which is great.
Exactly. No, we are functioning, in my view, as a highly functioning traditional nonprofit board that is completely focused on the mission we have not had any influence or any contact with elected officials around the constitution of this parade and the constitution of the board or any of the activities that we're doing as a board.
Terrific.
So I think we all feel independent in that sense, so that we can focus on what we need to focus on to make sure we get this parade done in the next 4 months.
How much meddling, if any at all, is Eric Schneiderman doing on that? I shouldn't use the word meddling so that you don't, but is he supervising? He's letting you off on your own? I know that there's a lot of consideration because of the, in order to expel or remove Nelson Peña, who just, rough rode the parade for 20 years and did whatever he wanted with no accountability, fiscal accountability or otherwise. You couldn't find a bank account because he had, I don't think he deposited anything anywhere except, where it was convenient for him. How much of an overseer will the Attorney General's office be right now, and the way you've reconstituted the bylaws and everything that you've needed to do? Or are you still in the process?
So that has been completed. There are certain levels of paperwork that need to be filed, and the initials have been filed, and then there's some that have follow-up. But the AG's office has not been involved in that, and they haven't been involved in our meetings, for example. So you have the AG's office, the mayor's office, elected officials and other community leaders come together to convene, to do the original convening of the board members. After that, everyone has stepped away and are only interacting in as much as we need to. As I mentioned, we met with the city to talk about logistics.
At the state level, you must follow the Charities
Bureau. And so that in that case, in those situations, there is some communication.
No other meddling for elected officials.
No.
That's really interesting because in the case of the Puerto Rican Day Parade, there is specific one elected official and several others that have meddled and continue to meddle. But that you're blessed then. Do you have right now an idea of how much money you're going to need to raise and what? I'm going to tell you, the expectation level is incredible. I hear people talking about particular artists. I'm not going to say them here because they figure that you're going to work miracles and bring this and that. They're not giving you a break. And so what is it that, do you have a goal of what you think is needed to pull off this parade? Because the city picks up some of the costs, but you have insurance that you have to come up with that people don't know. So it's not all gratis. It's not.
No, there are a lot of costs. I mean, the one thing that we've learned about putting together un desfile, this parade, is that it's its own microeconomy. So we are in the process of finalizing the budget, but the cost could be anywhere from $500,000 to $800,000. But once we have that budget finalized, we are going to put it on our website so that it's public.
And you'll raise this from fundraisers, you'll raise it from corporate donors, sponsorship, and what have you, just a traditional.
And for people who want to contribute with a float, they do sponsorship through the floats. We're going to have a number of different fundraisers, and people will be able to provide donations.
The parade is going to be held on 6th Avenue?
Yes, on 6th Avenue. Yes, from 38th Street up to 52nd Street. 38th
to 5th, big party, then August 9th. With regards to the mission that you have, the bylaws that have been set, you have been selected to chair this first reconstituted board. For how long a period? Because one of the things that in the past have happens with these parades, not only Dominican, Puerto Rican, that was for life.
No, it is.
So is there a time limited factor to your being chair?
So chair is for 2 years. Board members are members for 3 years. And we are very clear in that there must be succession planning for who would be the next chair, when they're elected.
From within the current structure.
From within the current structure.
So there's continuity in terms
Absolutely. Actually, the chair that's elected has to have been on the executive committee. So they have to have already had some leadership responsibility before they get elected into the chair position. And so that's something that we took very seriously when we ratified the bylaws. We wanted to make sure that it was built into the structure that anyone who is elected as chair has to have already proven and shown successful leadership skills at other levels within the board.
There's always the talk of doing some charity work, benefiting. Education is so important for all Latinos, for Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and we know that's the door to the future. I mean, the big door, and there are people in our communities, through our Latin American communities here in New York, that have needs. Is there a scholarship fund? Because I know that was attempted and it's talked about in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. I don't see it really building. What is it that you have plans in terms of giving back?
So our priority is to raise money to be able to put on this parade. We definitely want to develop to raise funds for a scholarship fund for the youth and for Dominican American students that want to continue their education. But our priority right now is to raise money for the parade.
Okay. I leave you with one last question for this first interview that we had. And again, we want to have you back. I know you're going to make the progress. I know that you have other people. There's two things. At some point, I want to go to one of the board meetings if it's open to it, because I just want to see the process, which we can't get into Puerto Rican Day Parade. They must be having a top secret there, but that's their problem. The one thing that most troubles you right now of overcoming, that maybe the community can help you as you deliberate and put this together, what is the one thing that the Dominicans, average Dominicans, can do to help this new board and Angela Fernández and be able to, bring this to a new level? What can they do?
So what they can do is we would want, and we have a website that's going to be launched in a few weeks, and we are going to set up an ability for people to email and sign up to join volunteer crews. We are definitely going to have, in the lead up to the parade, we're going to need people that can volunteer and help us manage what we understand are going to be hundreds of thousands of people and spectators that are going to be coming. And I think also the other way that would be very helpful is we're going to have a very structured way in which people can participate in the parade.
Actually march in the parade. But in order to do that well and in an organized fashion, we need people to sign up early and register. This will be available at this website.
Absolutely,
that you have.
absolutely.
So when you have it, we guarantee you that City and State New York, City and State TV will link it so that we can join in the big fiesta. Quisqueya la Bella, orgulloso quisqueyano, the best of luck for the board. And on August 9th, todo el mundo es dominicano. Gerson Borrero for City and State TV.